What is going on, everybody? I am back today to review a movie that I actually did a review for a year ago on my channel, but the reason why I'm doing it is, for starters, this is going to be a part of the segment called Nate's Favorites, and this is the segment on my channel where I talk about some of my favorite movies of all time and break them down and talk about them in great detail. And the other reason I'm talking about this movie is because it's the 15th anniversary of this film, and it's getting a re-release in theaters. It's one of my favorite stop-motion animation films of all time, and the movie I'm going to be discussing with you today is Coraline. Coraline is directed by Henry Selick. Wandering her rambling old house in a boring new town, 11-year-old Coraline discovers a hidden door to a strangely idealized version of her life. In order to stay in the fantasy, she must make a frighteningly real sacrifice. So, it's Nate's favorite, so as you know, this is one of my favorite films of all time, and if you've watched my previous review, you know why I like this movie so much. But I felt like for the 15th anniversary, I wanted to discuss it again because I feel like every time I revisit this movie, I get some new perspective into why I love it more and why it just means so much to me. And I'm excited to tell you about it today. So at the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Coraline Jones, a young girl who moves into a new housing complex with her mother and father. And we can tell that their relationship is relatively distant. Her parents are very concerned with their jobs. They're constantly working and they don't spend a lot of time with Coraline. And her father gets kind of fed up one day and says, go outside and explore, do something. And so she ends up going out and meeting with all these different people in this building that have very weird, eccentric personalities. And there's also a young kid named Wybie who lives at the complex that she starts to talk to and spend some time with. And despite meeting all of these different people and trying to fit in, she still feels kind of alone and sad. And her parents, they cook her meals that she absolutely can't stand. And one day she finds this little porthole door in the house, and her mom finds the key for it, and she opens it. And when she opens it, it's completely bricked off. Well, in the middle of the night, the door opens up and it takes her into another world. And she goes in there, and her mother and father are there, and all the people in the complex, and they have buttons sewed on their eyes. And when she goes into this world, it's an idealized version of everything she wants. She gets great food. It's beautiful. Her parents pay very close attention to her. And so she starts going in and out of that world on a regular basis. Well, she finds out that not everything about this world is what it seems, and there's something much more sinister going on underneath the surface. But like I said, I adore this movie. I think that everything about it is phenomenal. And for starters, I just want to talk about the animation. This is one of the most beautifully animated stop-motion films I've ever seen. The attention to detail, and not only the character design, but in the world, is amazing. What I like about when Coraline moves into this building, it's so bleak and dreary, and the colors are very muted, and it completely and totally matches the feelings that Coraline has about the place that she's living in. But when she goes into this other world, it's vibrant and gorgeous. There's flowers that are super colorful. Just every single frame of that is the complete and total contrast to what we're seeing in the real world. And I love that there's so much attentiveness in that from Henry Selick and the creators of this film. The voice actors in this movie do an incredible job. I feel like every single character has such a distinct personality that you're fascinated with whoever is on screen. I love these characters so much. I grow to appreciate them more every time that I revisit this movie. What I really like about this film is how dark it is. It really goes into a direction that I did not expect the first time that I saw it, and it doesn't really pull any punches when you come to find out what's actually going on. And I love when creators can make animated movies that can appeal to younger audiences but also have things that appeal to adults. And I like when movies like this that are trying to have kind of a sinister undertone can follow through with that. And Coraline is surprisingly dark, but what I find so interesting about this movie is how much comfort it brings to me. There's something about this. It feels like fall. It just breathes fall in every single scene. It's the outfits that the characters wear. It's the world. It's the colors that are used. And it's just a cozy comfort movie to me. I feel like anytime I get in a bad mood or I get depressed, I always like to put Coraline on because it puts me in a better headspace. And I love movies that do that for me. I also love the score to this movie. It is one of my favorite film scores of all time. I feel like I grow grow to appreciate it more all the time. Obviously, I make a lot of videos for YouTube and I spend a lot of time editing, and that is a soundtrack that I will put on relatively frequently to edit with because I just love the way that it sounds. It takes you into this very ethereal and strange world, and I think the music in each scene accompanies the feeling so brilliantly. And that's what the best film scores do. And it's just one that I constantly recommend to people when they're asking me what my favorite film soundtracks are. This is one that I constantly push them towards because I think the music is just absolutely brilliant. And the film has a lot of twists and turns along the way that even when I revisit it now, I'm always really surprised with how they are executed. And I like how the more horrific and sinister undertones just slowly start to unravel. It's not like it's ever just comes out right in your face type of moment. It's like it's unraveling as the film goes on, and it just builds up to this really insane third act climax that always gets me every time I watch it. And just when you think it's over, it keeps going. And that's what I like, is it's relentless. And I love the pace of this movie because early on it's very cozy and quiet and comfortable, and it slowly becomes more anxiety inducing and uncomfortable and puts things forward for you as an audience that leave you questioning. And I like Coraline as a character because she's like, man, I love this world that's so much different than my own, but she asks questions really early on and starts to kind of look at the world around her and be like, is it really this easy to just step out of what I know and get something entirely different? And I love the complexity of her character as well, and I think it's very well written. And obviously this is based off of a book written by Neil Gaiman, and I read this about a year and a half ago, and I really liked the book, but I actually think that I like the movie more. I feel like there's more detail. I like the way that it builds the characters. I think that the way it builds suspense and horror is a little bit better than the book as well. And it's just a film that I grow to appreciate more and more. And I feel like if you love stop motion animation and you've never seen Coraline before, you are completely and totally missing out. So have you seen Coraline? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was amazing. I love it more and more every time I watch it, and I feel like if you've never seen it before, you're truly missing out. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.